And you can be really aggressive about enforcing your opinion because you know it's right.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a thing that people are doing that they did during the pandemic and they do about any issue that's controversial, whether it's abortion or whether it's guns or anything. It's like the people, instead of like talking about it like these are the pros and cons, this is what's going on, this is where I could understand why you would think like this is why I think like that, and just try to work it out, it always becomes this like very vicious attack on your mental capacity, yes, on your thought process, your education. You immediately, they want to classify you in some sort of a category where they could dismiss you, whether it's sexist or racist or transphobic or whatever. They just throw you in an out group and start screaming at you. And it's the most unproductive way to communicate. And I think it's also a product of social media that we need to be really careful about because it's changing the way people interact with each other.
Well, I think it's more a function of evolutionary psychology, because if I'm low status and I have no opportunity to, raise my rank in terms of kind of whatever long-term mating, this gives me an excuse. Now I'm in a position to tell Joe Rogan, Mr. Podcaster celebrity, that I'm better than him. So right away, without having to do any of the work building the audience, I'm leapfrogging over you because I understand drug protocols better than Joe, who went to the veterinarian and just took something off the shelf and just injected into his veins.
Yes. Yeah, definitely it's that too. There's like many factors, but that's definitely one of the factors why people get aggressive and attack famous people. But it's not just famous people. They do it to people that any person who has an ideology that's different than them. Like, people on the right do it too.
Of course they do.
Everybody does it. It's a natural part of human. That's why you're seeing these bizarre shifts. Like the left, when I was a kid, when my stepfather was a hippie. And we grew up in San Francisco in the 70s during the Vietnam War.
Oh, okay.
So I was like surrounded by, like, all my neighbors were gay. Everyone was an artist. There was all these fucking weirdos. It's like ideologies like this, like whatever we're doing, whether it's right or left, they get it. It's like everybody just gets locked into a group mindset for some strange reason. And if you don't agree with everything in that group mindset, they can just fucking dismiss you.
Right.
They just completely dismiss you.
They're looking for filters to not have to listen to anything you say further. I have pronouns in my bio on Twitter because if you're this type of conservative who thinks, oh, pronouns in bio, I don't have to listen to anything this guy has to say, I don't want to be talking to you anyway, if that's how your mind works. So right away, it's going to alienate me from that audience. It also works because if you're someone who is on the other camp and you see pronouns in my Twitter bio, you're going to perceive me as part of your team and you're going to listen to what I have to say. So it works in both directions. But instead of listening to, does this person have a point? Is this true? Is it false? It's immediately, should I be listening to anything they further have to say? Now,
can I dismiss them immediately with one word or one phrase?
I mean, anyone who likes this can't possibly. Well, it's like stupid people make good points all the time.
So when I was a kid, the left was all about freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And, if you were like a person who never vaccinated your children, you would be much more likely to be on the left. You were someone who didn't trust pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
You were someone who wanted. Hippies were all about like healthy food. Like there was a lot of the hippie stuff was stupid, but a lot of the hippie stuff was. It's not that it was stupid. It doesn't work without discipline. It doesn't work without exceptional people who work hard with discipline and then share with each other. Like you can't just everybody share with everybody because there's a natural human inclination to not do anything if you don't have to do anything, especially when you're young. It's not good for the development of a human being to give them everything they want when they're young. That's why it's fucked up when you see like young rich kids. It's like they're classically fucked up. Like there's something wrong about that, right?
I think hippies have gotten a bad rap. And when I was much younger, I thought, okay, these guys are idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. The older I've gotten, the more I'm like, you know what? Like
they're probably onto something.
They were onto something. Like in the late 60s, where they're like, why are we sending kids to die overseas? Like
why are drugs illegal?
Yeah, what are we like? Okay, let's have some pleasure. Let's expand our minds. Like it sounds stupid now because it's become an eat, pray, love thing. But looking back, I'm like, they weren't so bad. And who were they really? Like a lot of them were destroying their own lives. Let's let's be honest, like
For
at a certain
sure.
point, hedonism's a problem. But in terms of like their motivations, I'm like, I kind of have a soft spot for them. And if you meet some of these older hippies, like even like especially the Bernie Sanders types, a lot of them are just really nice people.
Yeah,
and they
they're
just
just
want
really
to have
nice
good
people.
neighborhoods.
Yeah, and they got into a nice vibe of like being a good person. But that's what the left used to be about. The left used to be about like freedom. It was more like freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You know, like think about the comic books that came from the left, like R. Crumb, like fucking bizarre, wild shit the right would never create, right? But then somewhere along the line, the roles reversed. And I don't even know if people realize it. It's like a shifting of the polar ice caps. Like today, if you were going to be a person who had a controversial comic book, you would most likely be on the right.
100%.
If you had like anything remotely as satirical and as fucked up as some of those R. Crumb comics, have you ever read those?